We're going to talk about grand openings. Grand openings is the backbone of this industry. Started with Amway. Amway figured out something that said, if we can get belly to belly with people, if we can get one-on-one, if we can show them presentations on a small scale, then we can make millions of dollars. Well, they made billions of dollars. A grand opening is another word for PBR, or private business reception. Let's forget about technology and go back to the old days, 20, 30 years ago. How were presentations done? Well, this is what happened. You would have someone that's brand new that gets signed up in the business. Their upline will tell them, okay, you need to have a private business reception. Some companies call it different. They may call it a makeup party or Tupperware party or travel parties for the travel companies. And they would invite friends, family, and relatives from their neighborhood and their city to come on over to their house one evening. And a speaker will come over, their upline, would pop in a video. Afterwards, the video's over, pull out the whiteboard, put the numbers on the whiteboard, and then close people out and sign people up that night. And each one of these, you may end up signing 4 or 5 people up every presentation. Well, imagine having 20 to 30 of those going on in your organization every night or every other night or every week. That's how people end up having 50 to 100 people a week signing up in their business. That is the backbone of this industry and what drives it. Technology has changed it a little bit. The concept is the same, but technology has allowed us to reach more people. See, because of technology, you don't have to only be relying on your local neighborhood or your friends and family and relatives or people within driving distance to you, an hour to 2 hours driving distance. You now have access to people all over the world. That's why we call it a grand opening. Now, every single business, especially brick-and-mortar businesses, when they first open their doors, what do they call that? They call that a grand opening. They're announcing to the world that they're open for business. They have huge banners on the front of their buildings that says grand opening. Come see what we have to offer. You haven't seen this before. Stop by our shop. They're announcing they're open for business. So same thing you must do. You are announcing that you're open for business. You're telling everybody that you know, friends, family, relatives, people you don't know, everybody that you are now open for business, and you are going to share what you're offering with everybody. Okay? Now, why is this important to do? And it amazes me, and I want to see how the results of this call, but the grand opening is why people have success. And I see a lot of people that are committed that will stay around for months or years in the business, and they've never had a grand opening, and I can tell why, because they never had major success. There's a difference between signing up 1 or 2 people every now and then all of a sudden having 30, 40, 200, 300 people coming into your organization. How is that possible? Well, let me give you an example, and I like to tell stories for examples. Here's 3 examples of my personal experience. And so there's a learning, so you don't have to go through the learning curve. You learn from my personal experience. My very first PBR was in ACN. This was when it failed. My upline told me I must have a PBR grand opening, and they told me how to do it. They told me that I need to do 3-way calls. I need to make a list of everybody that I know, get with my upline, we'll contact them and invite them that way. I didn't want to listen to that. I wasn't coachable. I said, I'm a senior at Morehouse College. I know everybody. I don't need to put anybody on the phone with you. If I say come over, they'll come over. I had a party the week before. 200 people showed up, and I only invited 20. So this is no problem. And they told me, listen, just get water and some chips. Oh, no, I went and got a full-fledged buffet, ordered chairs, had everything done. And the day of my PBR, I expected to have at least 100 people show up. And I had about 4 people that showed up. Me, my girlfriend, my sponsor, and the speaker. That was it. I was shocked. I was like, maybe this may not work. I didn't understand. Well, that comes with being coachable. I didn't follow the system. But at least I tried to have a PBR. Well, let's fast forward. Now, doing it the right way. We were with a company called Escape. When we first saw it and we signed up, we had a grand opening immediately. The first call, we had about 30 people on a grand opening call. Out of those 30 people, about 16 to 17 of them signed up that day. And then those people, not all of them, but some of them had grand openings the next day for them. So our first 30 days in business, we had over 100 people. I got promoted twice, and the company called us the fastest growing team in the company and the number one producer on the West Coast, and blah, 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 all the accolades. That was one result, first 30 days. Another time, a company called TBA. We joined that. I learned from the first time, I said, wait, I had one grand opening. What if I have multiple? We got started on a Saturday morning, just like this morning. It was about 7:30 or 8. At 9 o'clock, we had our first grand opening. It was only 2 people. And then those 2 people signed up. Not even a couple hours later, about an hour later, we did another one. We didn't wait for a live presentation. We just did it. We did another one. At that call, we had about 7 people that signed up. And then we waited about 6 more hours for that evening and had another one. We had over 30 people on the call, and about 15 people signed up. So on our first day in business, we not only made our investment back, but we were in profit. First 30 days in business, I was already close to 4 figures in income. First 30 days in the business. Fast forward to today, our new company. We got started 2 months ago. Had a grand opening. In fact, I had several of them. Dr. Michael Smith Sr. was on one of them. You see the results of that. And we exploded. Made $1,000 first week and a half in the business. You know, our organization is exploding right now. We're having tremendous success. Now, to backtrack a little bit, your first 30 to 60 days in business is the most important days in your business. Why? Documentation beats conversation every day. How many times have you been approached by somebody who says, hey, I've got this new opportunity, it's in pre-launch, it's the greatest thing, blah, 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 and they're a cheerleader for the company. Or even may not even be in pre-launch, it may just been around for a while, the company's made a whole lot of money, and they're so excited about it, they're telling you about it. And then when you ask them, oh, really, well, how well are you doing with it? All of a sudden, the questions get the answers get a little shady. You know, they try to deflect. Well, I'm new. Don't expect me to do much. You don't need to ask me how much I make, because what's important is how much money you can make from it. Blah blah blah. See, and even companies will teach and train people how to deflect that question. Well, if you're going on for a job interview, you don't ask the person who's interviewing you how much they make. No, but listen, if I go to the website, I know how much their position is worth. I know how much they're paying for those positions. So it's not hidden, okay? My belief and my philosophy is if you have something great and you're doing great, you don't need to hide it. If you're not doing so great, you don't need to hide it. That's why I say the first 30 to 60 days is so important, because now you can have documentation to back up what the company is saying. That's why I like to make private videos on a company, even though the company has videos out, because people don't always believe the hype of the company. They like to hear what other people have to say. What are other testimonials about it? So you want to be able to say, when you're showing somebody your opportunity and they say, wow, the company sounds great, how well are you doing? You could turn around and say, I'm doing fantastic. This is what I was able to accomplish in my first 30 days. This is how much money I was able to make in my first 30 to 60 days. So how are we going to make sure you have a documented story to tell and share with people? Because that is what launches your business. When people see that you're doing well with it, you're doing something with it, all of a sudden you start having people flock to you to want to sign up. So how are we going to make that happen? Grand opening. So to take advantage of technology, all of you must get yourself a private conference call line. a private conference call line like the one I'm using now, and there's many different versions out there. What I'm using is freeconferencing.com. Freeconferencing.com. There's a reason why I'm using it, because it's free. And because it's free, that means I can duplicate it. Yeah, I can go ahead and pay $100 for a professional one. I can afford to do that, but not everybody on my team can. So if I want them to duplicate me, I want to be able to use something that they all can use as well. So it's free. There's another one, that's like freeconferencepro.com, but there's many of them out there. But get yourself a private conference call line. Here's the reason. Because people, they miss this step. They say, they do everything right. They say, I'm going to have a grand opening on Monday on the next presentation call. And then they made their list of everybody that they know. They start calling them. They're doing three-way calls, and they tell their guests to call into this number, the presentation call number. And here's what ends up happening. Here's the problem with that. Let's say you invited 20 people, and you're getting on the call. You're excited because you invited 20 people, and you're sitting there, you're listening to roll call, and you don't hear any of your guests' names. Well, think about that. First of all, many guests aren't going to introduce themselves their first time on a call. They don't know these people. They're not even in the company. They don't know what this is all about. They're not going to put themselves out there. It's like walking into a room and sitting in the back and just observing. So don't expect for your guests to always say their name. So people are listening for that. So then after the call, what they do is they spend the next 2 hours of the night trying to call up everybody that they invited to see if they were on the call. And they hear this, oh, I lost the number, or I wasn't able to get through, oh, I forgot about the call, or they don't answer the phone. That's how it works. Here's an example for those of you that are old school. You ever been to a Thursday night hotel meeting, and let's say you got there late, and you walk into the lobby, and you see a lot of people dressed up in, suits and everything. The meeting's already started, but they're in the lobby, looking out the window, poking their heads out the door, waiting for their guests, paging them, calling them, like, where are you? And that's the same thing you're doing by inviting people directly to the presentation. It's like you're telling people to go directly to the hotel. My sponsor in my first company, my Morehouse brother, Mr. Robert Brown, you know what he did? It was snowing. It was like below 30 degrees, and he drove around town in a beat-up car that could only seat maybe 3 people comfortably, and packed 6 of us in his car and drove us to the presentation. That way, he guaranteed that his guests were going to be there. Sat us all in the same row, so he knew everyone who was there who he invited. He didn't tell us to meet him there, because if he didn't pick me up, I would have looked out the window and said, yeah, I told Rob I would go to the meeting, but it's cold outside. It's snowy. Now, I think I'll stay right here where it's warm and watch TV. I'll go to the next time. That's exactly what I would have done. But he came and picked me up to guarantee I'm there. That's what having your own conference call is. It's your vehicle. It's your online vehicle where you're picking up all of your guests. This service allows you to keep track of it. It's like caller ID. You can see who's on. It tells you how long they're on. You even get a report afterwards where it's going to get emailed to you. It's like your own personal secretary that you're getting for free. So what you do is you invite all of your guests onto your conference call line. You tell them to come on about 7 minutes before the call. That way, you can talk to them, introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about, you're excited, thank them for coming on, and then you're going to 3-way your call into the live presentation call. Now, it's a little hard to do with like a webinar where you don't have to call in, you just link into, and that's not a problem either, because you're able to see the list of everybody who's on, so you can see your guests. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if it's just a telephone type presentation like this one. So all you have to do is 3-way yourself in. Now you have complete control. You know which guests were on and not, and you don't have to waste 2 hours trying to follow up. Now, that's a grand opening. That is going to launch your business. If you've been in your business for a couple of months and you've never had a grand opening, guess what? Today is your first day in the business. Your clock has started over again. You now can have another first 30 to 60 days. That's the beauty of this business. You can always start over. One guy I learned a lot from named Steve Carter. He's the #1 money earner at 5 Links. And I remember his story out of Chicago, and he was talking about he was in ACN for over a year and did nothing. And got to the point where he was hiding in his house when the people were coming to evict him. And he was trying to not make a noise so they wouldn't think anybody was home. And he's like, he had his eureka moment. He was like, I need to get serious and do something with my life. He got serious. That became his day one. And 6 months from that day, he hit regional vice president of the company. 6 months from that day. So his story is, I hit regional vice president in 6 months, not a year in 6 months, not a year and a half, in 6 months. So any day can be your start over date, whatever you choose to say, okay, I'm going to do things the right way, step by step by step. Now, you must have a grand opening as soon as possible, 24 to 48 hours. Whenever I got started in something new, I had a grand opening that same day. Okay? If I put money down, I was having a grand opening that same day to make the money back. And I don't care if the company said, our next presentation's on Thursday. No, we need a presentation today. Get with the upline. I don't care who it is. Somebody's doing me a presentation for me. That's what we did. The first one was Richard Trotter, Sheila McNeil. The second and third one was the CEO of the company and his wife. Got him on the line. That's the one Dr. Michael Smith Sr. was on, and did it anyway. I don't wait till the next live presentation, and that goes for all of you. You have an upline that will help you. So you can get with any of us. Tell us when you want. If you have 5 to 10 people at a certain time, guess what? We're going to pick up the phone and do it, the presentation. You don't have to wait till the next one. That's how the successful people operate. So I had 3 of them, but let's say I think the company did one on Thursday. We did one Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the first couple of days we were in the business. No, we got started on a Friday. So it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We didn't want to wait till the next Thursday or the next time Glenn Finley did one for us. So that's one thing. The importance of also doing it within 24 to 48 hours is so that you can achieve that first goal on your business goal of eliminating your overhead and getting in the black. That's the purpose of that, to launch your business. Now, I'm going to give you a story. There's 2 types of people, and I'm going to call them, one is Professional Bob and the other one is Excited Kathy. Professional Bob has been a professional for over 30 years. Maybe in this industry, maybe not. Maybe in direct sales, has been very successful over his career. Maybe not too much network marketing, but has made a whole lot of money. Has a lot of contacts. And Professional Bob listens to a presentation like this, and he's like, okay, who's this kid, Brandon, talking? Yeah, he sounds good and everything. He's got some good advice, but I've got 30 years of experience. And I'm going to do things the way I know that's always worked for me. And so I tell Professional Bob, I say, Bob, you need to have a grand opening tomorrow. And Professional Bob tells me, you know what, kid, it's all good. The people that I know will make us millionaires. They can't rush into this. Got to do it the right way. I got to give them time because we have busy schedules. So I'm going to schedule my grand opening next week, next Thursday, okay? Not tomorrow Thursday, but next week's Thursday. So I give them plenty of time to get started, to get them information so that they can do their due diligence, clear their schedule, so I'll have their undivided attention. Now, at first glance, that makes sense, right? It makes perfect sense from a business standpoint. Not in this industry where it's all about urgency and excitement. So this is what Professional Bob does. He spends a week, pulls out his Rolodex, contacting 100 people. Out of those 100, he gets about 20 people to confirm that they're going to be on his grand opening next week. Next week comes along. Out of the 20 people that he invited, only about 3 showed up. Okay? 3 showed up. Out of the 3 that showed up, only 1 person signed up. Now, first thing, Professional Bob, what happened? I invited 20 people that confirmed. Let me get back on the line with them. He gets on the line with them. They say, oh, Bob, something came up. I had a business meeting that came up. I had to fly out of town. Something happened with the wife, the kids, or I forgot. I lost the number. You know how it is. Just give me the number for the next. I'll get on next week. And he gets to that. So one person signs up in the business, and this person must have a grand opening, right? But since Professional Bob waited a week, this person said, well, Bob got in the business last week and had his first grand opening in a week, so I'm going to do the same thing. So this person duplicates exactly what Professional Bob does, and we're just using numbers. Numbers aren't perfect, but it's just statistics. He does the same thing Professional Bob does, waits a week, contacts 100 people, 20 confirm, only 3 show up, and only one person signs up out of the 3. So now we are at 2 weeks into the business. Professional Bob has 2 people on his team. Professional Bob is used to having a lot of success and making money quickly. He quickly realizes, wow, I just put in 2 weeks' worth of work, and I only have 2 people in my business. Now, whatever opportunity you're in, you do the math on how much money that is, but 2 people. And that's just Bob has 1 and his person has 1. Honestly, yeah, 2 people. So he gets a little discouraged and says, I could be making more money over here doing something else. I'll come back to it. And he comes back to, Brandon, it's not working out the way I thought it was. I think it's a great opportunity, but it's not making money fast enough for me. So I'm going to go and do something else for it just a little bit. Keep me informed on how it's doing. Maybe I'll come back later. Goodbye. Now, I just spent 2 weeks training, talking to 3-way calls with Bob, and now Bob is gone, and I just lost 2 weeks in income, because time is income. Then you have Excited Kathy on the other end. Excited Kathy has no business experience, no education. She might be a stay-at-home mom, and she's very excited because she thinks to herself, with this opportunity, I can retire my husband. I can make all of our bills go away. We can take family trips and vacations. She has her why down packed, so she's excited. I tell her, you need to have a grand opening tomorrow. They say it was a Wednesday, the grand opening's for Thursday. She says, okay. I say, you need to write down a list of everybody that you know, friends, family, doesn't matter, everybody. Let them know about it, whether they say yes or no. She says, okay. She invites 20 people, and because it's tomorrow, the 20 people she invited, 10 to 15 show up. Let's just go on the conservatives. Let's just say 10 showed up out of the 20 people. Because it's the very next day, they see her excitement and urgency. It's not a week later, out of sight, out of mind. The very next day, 10 people showed up onto her grand opening. Out of those 10, 5 signed up into the business the very next day. Now, you do the math for whatever opportunity you're in, how much money that is, that Kathy now is frontline 5 new people. Frontline. Then those 5 people do the same thing. They say, we're going to do a grand opening as well in 24 hours on Friday. So now Kathy has 5 people doing grand openings. Now let's say they duplicate Kathy perfectly, and they invite 20 people, and only 10 show up, and out of those 10, 5 sign up. That's 25 new people plus the 5 Kathy signed up the day before. So Kathy now has a total of 30 people on her team 2 days into the business. You know how I know this works? Because we have people on our team that did that, and not only in this one but in our previous opportunity. And it was the Northwest team. They had brought in like 32 people in 48 hours in a previous opportunity. 32 people in 48 hours. Why? Grand opening. Because when they had one, then the next day so did everybody on their team. Now let's just say this keeps continuing, and it's not going to happen perfectly like this. It may be a week or 2 weeks. But if everyone is having a grand opening and they're having guests on their grand opening, somebody's going to sign up. So now that's the purpose of business. You want to grow your business. At the same time, you're starting to learn. See, here's another thing, and I said this on one of the videos I did, where I was talking about the difference between sharks and urchins and how a lot of urchins need to wait till they have all the facts and information before they make a move, which is okay, that's fine. But you get different results. And how I had another person before who a good friend of mine, who was an urchin, looked at the opportunities, same time I did. I jumped on board. He waited. By the time he was ready to jump on board, I already had 100 people in my group. 100 people made it 4 figures, and he's still thinking about, okay, now I'll do a grand opening my way. I'll wait till I know everything, because I don't want to be embarrassed when people ask me questions and I can't answer the question. You guys got to understand something. If people ask you questions and you don't know the answer, and you say, I'm brand new, I don't know the answer to that yet, but I can put you on the phone with somebody who does. All I know is I'm cashing checks. Do you know what's going through their head? Man, it's not, wow, I don't want to join him. He doesn't even know what he's doing. No, it's, wow, he's making money and he doesn't know what he's doing. I can do the same thing and make money until I figure this out. So reverse in thinking. So that is the purpose and the point of a grand opening. If you are not having a grand opening yourself, if people on your team are not doing grand openings, you are not making any money. It doesn't matter what company you're in, how great or broke. I know one company, the worst possible company out there, the worst possible compensation plan, the worst products you can think of, but the guy has a system in place and makes all of his new people do grand openings, and they follow the same system, and he's making 6 figures a month in the crappiest company out there. Then I know people that's in the greatest companies out there, got the greatest compensation plan, the greatest products available, the greatest excitement and system in place that the company put into place, but the people aren't working it. They don't want to do a grand opening, and they're broke and not making any money. So what failed? Did the company fail or did they fail? So what we want to do with our team is make sure that, especially for all of you leaders, you're duplicating the right thing. You're sharing the right information. A grand opening doesn't have to have 30 people on the grand opening. A grand opening can be you only had one person that was on the call. As long as you have one, it will start to grow, because you want that to duplicate. Your organization will duplicate exactly what you do. It's amazing how that works. I was talking to Hal the other day, and he was telling me, for example, with our opportunity, how you have some individuals that come in and start off as a platinum, and everybody on their team starts off as a platinum. Then you have other people that come in and they start off as a silver, and everybody that they bring in starts off as a silver or just a marketing rep. It's just duplication. So where you want to be, where you want to be in the future, that's where you want to start off, so that everybody will start to duplicate that as well. And so that's the key about duplication. So I'm looking at